and David for having us all here today. Great work on this. Whoa, so California, I think Tom touched on this, $3 trillion economy annually. Everyone name a favorite water project and what's the outside number it might cost. Raising Shasta, Mr. Bordeaux?
Well, unfortunately, it costs billions.
Billions? How many billions? 2 billion, okay.
And Sites Reservoir's about 4.
4, okay, got 6 billion. Come on, add it up.
Seaborn Reservoir, 23 million.
Wow. Okay, I need even billions here.
Del Porto, 800,000. 800 million.
I think it's 80 million, isn't it? 800 million or 800 million? Okay, it's almost a billion. We'll call that 6 billion.
Well, Temperance, 3 billion.
3 billion. Okay, we're under 10 billion. $36 billion would be 1% of California's GDP in 1 year. We're talking about gold-plated water infrastructure, water abundance for every Californian, for every industry, new housing dropping in cost because we no longer have water constraints to build homes. We're talking about every Californian having a rent or a mortgage payment going down by $1,000 a year for water infrastructure that would cost us 1/3 of 1% of California's annual GDP. That's the math. We are dealing with agencies. We have to call it out as it is. These are simply the lords of scarcity. They gain power over us by keeping us on the edge of privation. The working American family, the lowest 40% income of Americans, is spending 25% of their annual income on food alone. Yet we're taking probably God's greatest agricultural gift. We've got the largest watershed in the world with the Sierra Nevadas. We've got the largest precipitation bank in the world with the Pacific Ocean. We've got the largest, most fertile valley in the world here in the Central Valley. And we've got a Mediterranean climate. You know, you can't talk about agriculture without seeing a map of the globe and where are all the Mediterranean climate, and it's little spicks and spats all over, except right here. We've got the biggest Mediterranean climate in the world. And yet, because of the most prosperous, 5th nation in the world, if California was a nation, with the biggest innovation hub, San Francisco, Silicon Valley, Los Angeles, won't invest 1/3 of 1% of its GDP, annual GDP, to create 2 or 3 generations of water infrastructure. Let's say 1 generation, 2 generations to catch up, plus leave it in place for the next generation. Then they might have to think about it and revisit it then. We've got to understand this for what it is. We have to be the champions of abundance and call out these agencies for being anti-human scarcity mongers. And there's really no happy way to put that. This is just mean. It's mean to working families. It's mean to hungry people. It's mean to, look at Woke Moses, our governor. He goes to Florida and he wants to tell and stem the U-Haul tide. Well, I can tell Woke Moses how to stem the U-Haul tide. Build the water infrastructure. Let California's economy and people thrive again. Feed the world. That's how we do it. So this coming summer, we need to make some hay here. When towns are flooding, let's remember this and make sure we get it out in the media. When food prices go up again this year, even as affordability is lost and the economy and the opportunity of better jobs kind of ebbs and flows. I see some folks over here with, it looks like you belong to a group of working families or a labor group or something. I'm happy to have you here because you're who we're fighting for. You're the ones that count Fridays. If you count Friday, you're a working family. If you know how many Fridays are in the month, how many paychecks you're going to get, you're a working family, and you are getting pushed against the edge of privation right now. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for coming, giving your stories. They're all very credible. I'm more accustomed to having the guys on the far end of the table down there, the ones that aren't here today. We should name them because they deserve recognition. Martha Williams from the Fish and Wildlife Services isn't here today. Now, they're the ones that blocked the permit in Planada when the Army Corps wanted to allow them to clean up the ditch that just flooded the same grammar schools, the same working families' homes in Planada twice in 5 years? That was the Fish and Wildlife Service that blocked the Army Corps of Engineers permitting that. Jim Costa, my good friend down here, reached over in a Farm Bureau meeting the other day and said, wait a minute, I got them money to clean that ditch and fix that levee 5 years ago when the school flooded 5 years ago. Well, Martha Williams is not here today to explain that to us. Rick Spinard from the NOAA isn't here today to talk to us about how we haven't saved the salmon in 40 years of flows out to the Delta, and how the smelt and the salmon are both still in decline despite our depleted aquifers and economic duress here. Camille Towton from the Bureau of Reclamation is not here today to talk about their flood control plans for this coming summer and what they intend to do and how carefully they're all working together to make sure there's a flood control plan and immediate dredging of our waterways to make sure that we get the water out to the ocean without destroying our communities. And Charlton Bonham is not here from California Fish and Wildlife. So, yeah, what's that? To give us the building permits so we can build Sites Reservoir. So let's not understand this for anything but what it is. These are the lords of scarcity pushing working families up against the edge of privation right where they want you. Thank you. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you, Mr. Duarte, and thank you, Mr. Costa, first of all, for being here, and you are recognized for 5 minutes.